This is going to be movie number 3 in the series of movies for the cartoon and the gradient mesh. This is actually going to be concentrating on Bugs's, we'll call this his right arm over here, even though it's actually his left arm. I should actually rename this, which I should right now, into right arm, because left arm, because it'll drive me nuts. So let me go ahead and do that. And then make sure you save after every good thing that you do, so now everything's right. What I wanted to show you before we begin is the difference between a layer and a sublayer and then just a path on a layer. Look up here where we have the left arm. As promised, I have the clicky copy, which I'm turning on and off. I'll turn off everything with the left arm, which now there's nothing visible. Here's the little scan off to one side and the tracing layer underneath, just like we've always done, or I've always shown you so far. So let me turn off the tracing layer and get right back to my left arm and turn on the new blend that I had made from before so that we can see it. And I'm going to get close to this because I want you to see something. Normally, or since this point, all I've ever told you is to see the wire frame of anything, and I'll turn on the tracing layer underneath. You hold the command key or control key and you click on the parent layer, and now you get to see the wire frame. No big deal, right? But there's a thing in Illustrator that said, well, what if I have multiple things in a layer? Do I have to have everything wireframed? And if I only want to see the things that I want to see, do I have to turn everything else off just to see the item wireframed that I want? In other words, can I target directly to one of them? Well, if you hold the command key on any path within a layer, it won't work. If I go up here and just go open up the character lines that I've used, because I want to make a point here, and let me turn on the character lines right there. If I unlock them and I want to see them in wireframe, if I hold the command key, it just turns off the eyeball. It doesn't do anything to the eyeball. It just turns it off. I don't see wireframe or anything. Because these items that I'm selecting are simply paths on a layer. When you normally pick a layer and you pick a pen and you draw, you have a path on a layer. I've renamed those, all right? But what I want to show is this. This that I've clicked on, and I'll bring back the actual blend, this that I've clicked on is a sub-layer. This is the original group when I made a clipping mask. So what I'm going to do is show you right now that I don't have to go up here to the parent layer to click the command key to see wireframe. I can click to a sub-layer. Just like you can click to a parent layer, you can click a sub-layer to wireframe. Now how do you make a sub-layer? I will show you. I'm going to reverse the process and pick up this group, as you can see, and bring it up above the new blend. So now there's nothing in that new blend. Let me throw away the sub-layer. Now I just have what I had before. I have my paths, my lines, which are simply a series of lines in, as a matter of fact, what I should do is show you the right thing. That's actually a sub-layer there. So let me move them all out and pick them up and bring them out to here. Oh, I have to turn it on, I'm sorry. And bring them up to here. And now let me throw away the line sublayer. So let's say that you were just like I was. You had all your lines done, as you can see here. Let me turn this off. And you want to actually get into making sublayers. One sublayer for the lines, one sublayer for the fill, so that you can hit the wireframe. See, if I hold the command key now and click, it doesn't do anything but turn it off. So what I want to do is click up to the parent layer. Click a new sublayer button where I'm circling here to the right. I'll move this up a little bit so we can see it better. Up here to the right and click, to the left and click. Now I have a sublayer within my parent layer called left arm. I'm going to move it down below the line layer and I'm going to call this the arm fill. And since you know I hate yellow, I'll make it black. And now I'll pick up the group and deposit it in the new sublayer. Now that I have a sublayer which owns the group and is a child of this parent, I can command click the sublayer. Very cool. So I'll do the same thing to the lines. I'll click up. You have to click up to the parent layer. If I clicked right there and hit the sublayer button, it would make another sublayer inside there. But I want it inside the parent layer. So I'll click the sublayer button, double click it and call it lines. Obviously there's going to be a lot of sublayers called lines. I don't need to go farther than that. This is lines for the obvious left arm. And I'll make this black. and I'll shift click all three of these lines, pick them up, and drop them into the sublayer called lines. Now, I'll turn off the arm fill and look at how I can wireframe this back and forth. Let's get a little bit closer. Wireframe this back and forth. All right. And then I can click this and turn off the lines. Click this was the arm fill and wireframe that. Now, I want to recreate this with you. All right. So what I'm going to do is do the very next thing, which is to start over. So let me hit the tracing layer and let us pretend on this case that I don't have a left arm layer, and I'm going to lock it and hide it. All right. I did that opposite, but that's okay. Let's make a new one. So let's click a new layer button, double click it, make it be black like I need to see, and name this one left arm 2. In making it, there's nothing in it, right? So I hit the pen tool, make sure that the fill is on nothing, and I usually take a stroke of red and just do it at 0.5 just to see it. Let's get very close and draw the arm. Now, just like Stitch, we have to concentrate on what is going to be above what in the layers. Well, the guitar is going to be above the arm, so is the cuff for the glove going to be above the arm. So I can start right here and draw this accurately right till this point. So there's my arm there. Let's now hold the Option key and pull out a new handlebar right there. And now let's put it in about the direction we're going. Remind you of guide number 2, doesn't it? And go like this, and now round this off just a little bit like this, just so it becomes a little bit better geometry. And now do the other side. Before we go farther, once I have this drawn, I'm going to go and duplicate this path. That's the direct select tool, which is my toggle from the command key. Go way up here, and let's just connect it before we edit it. Kind of like I told you people on the guide number 2 to just edit at the end of when you're finished. So let's go like this and just round this off. Now let's hit the direct select tool here, and as normal, we just edit this, and now there's our path. So let's go a little bit in like this. I'm a little bit too far, but that's plenty close for this. I'm not trying to get it absolutely perfect, just close enough. Now we go into the left arm number 2 layer, and I'll just keep on saying left arm, and we duplicate that path. Now these are just paths in a layer. I haven't made any sublayers yet. So if I feel like it, I'll make a sublayer in a few minutes. But I'm going to double click this one and call it line for later. And that'll be my movie number 4, how to do character lines. So I'll close it, or hide it and lock it. Hit save on the file and go do the path. Now I can't turn this into a gradient mesh. It's obvious. There's a huge innie right there. All right, so I have to hit the M key for rectangle, make a rather large rectangle, and this time we're not only going to turn it with the E key, but we're going to skew it like we did in guide number 5. So let's turn it like this and put it right in the same alignment as this part of his arm and make it slightly bigger. Now I want to stretch it out, but I also want to do some skewing on this. So if you remember your transforms from guide number 5, you hold the command key, you grab this corner, hold the command key, and skew this up. Let go. In the E key, grab this, hold the command key, and skew it down. Let's repeat the process and go to the other side. Grab this icon right here and this middle bar, and hold the command key and skew it up until you have enough of a skew on here so that this lines up relatively good to my rectangle, and this side also lines up relatively good to my rectangle. So I'm pretty happy with that. I think it looks pretty good. Let us take this one up a little higher here. So let's grab this point right there, go here and shift click this point right there, grab it and just move it up a little bit so it's above that one. And now look at how nicely I have the rectangle formed here. It should now line up to both sides. I haven't filled it yet. I haven't done anything like that. So let's just take this big path, remove the stroke, click on the fill, eye for eyedropper, hold the shift key, and grab the medium value and fill it right about there. Now, as you can see in my swatches palette, I've done this before, so I'm going to start to save new ones. All right. I always like to pick up the color that I'm going to grab off the fill. Let me try a different fill. No, I like that one right there. We're going to take that one and call this the medium value, but look at how I've saved it in the swatches over here. Command S to save the file. Remember how to make a clipping mask. Let's grab the big path and put it below the little path. So now we have both of them on top of each other. We shift click and hit Command what? I know you just said Command 7. Now let's go into the group, lock up the clipping mask so we cannot touch it, hit Command S to save the file, and make our first obvious color change on both directions. You can practically tell when I look over here and I turn this off, what is the most obvious color change? Well, it can be any one of these. The most obvious color change going this way is somewhere in here. The most obvious color change is either the white or the dark right there, but since they all line up to the same thing, let's make one line go this way, one line go this way, and then align them. Now remember, gradient mesh lines go in the middle of the tone, so if you can count with me here, I'm going to need on this one here, another one here, which to the white this would be a stopping line on both sides, so that's 3. Then one over here to stop the dark, one for the dark, and one for the white. So it makes pretty much 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 6 going that way. Now count how many this way. 1, 2, 3, 4. Possibly we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see if we can do 5. 6, okay, then fine. But let's see if we can do 5. So let's turn on the arm this way. Let us get the U key and make sure everything else is locked up. The answer is yes. Let's hold the Command key now, and look at how I have to click way up to the parent layer to turn it into wireframe. I can't Command click on this, it just turns it off. So if that bothers you, go ahead and click on the parent layer and make a new sub layer. Bring the sublayer down just above your thing right there, and let me call this fill. And of course it's gray, that won't work, and let's go to black. And now pick up the group and put it directly in the new sublayer. Now I'll open it up so you can see it, and if I Command click that sublayer, I can also turn it into wireframe, which to me is more convenient. Command S to save the file. Hit the U key and let's go now make the first line. So remember when I said you kind of align it to where it hits the edge of the wireframe? Well, let's go out here and hit the edge of the wireframe right there. And then let's go over here and hit the edge of the wireframe where this is going to go in. Look at how it curves up right about there. Now, what we want to do is start moving this down and making the architecture work. So let's put this one down here. Notice how I retracted the handlebar. Let's make this one go down right to where that little corner is. I should have retracted the handlebars first. So look at what I'm doing now. I'm a good boy and I am being extremely careful in my retraction. Okay, that's good there. Now if I want this to be for the dark, let's move this one over. Now, you know what? I don't care what it's for. I care if it's convenient. So this one actually is kind of aligning for the white one right there. So what? I don't care. I'll make this one for the white one then. Look at how easy it would go in for the white. Look at how that's already in the middle of that white. Now, as silly as it sounds, I'm going to retract this and move it over so this line forms real clean right there for the white. Now let's click this one, which is going to be for the curve of this. And now look at how nicely I'm forming this for the white on this side. And remember I said at some point we should be concentrating on making a safe copy of this. Don't lose track of that. No matter what shape you do, you'll be unhappy if you don't make a safe copy. So I think we can put in a couple more lines because that didn't take me too long. So at the end of the next ones, we'll kind of put in some lines. So let me hit Command S to save the file. I almost did it. I almost went ahead and did that, but that's okay. I may have this up too high right there now that I think about it because I'm seeing the other ones that belong on that arm. I really don't have to have that curve so much. So let's just kind of relax that curve just a skosh there, and I'm pretty good right there. Now, that's going to be for the white. Now, I'm going to need a line right there to start coloring all my points, and that's going to kind of help me place in things. So I can click along that line. Now the next most obvious thing happening to this, of this, other than the ones going in the same direction, is this line going in a funny direction. The next thing happening difference to that, because these all go in the same direction, is this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click right there to start that process, and I'm going to click right here to start that process. Now I've got those pretty much in there. Let me Command Z back, because I told you we should probably click where this hits the edge right there, and I should have done that. I didn't, but I should have. And I did nicely right there. Look at how that hits the edge right down here. Command S to save the file. All I got to do is move this down and then yank this down and over. But before we do that, we better put in our stopping lines. So let's get close to this and see if we can do this within reason. Stopping line right there, stopping line for the white, stopping line for the dark. Now that was silly. I'll tell you why. Because now I have to move this one line to match up to this 4 times instead of once. So I'm going to go Command Z back, not panic too much, and I'm going to go in here and put this in here where I need to. So let's put this in here. Look at how much easier it is to align the shape or the geometry with one point to move, one point that I'm circling, not a bunch. Let's take this down and put this right down here. Look at how I'm retracting the handlebar and moving it down for the shadow here. Let's pull this up just a little bit and retract the handlebar so it's okay there. Let's make sure we're doing good like this. Let's make sure we're doing good like this. And now this one is going to pull down here, and then on this side I'm going to be able to pull this and yank this pretty far down for the nice shadow. Now that's pretty good for the shadow. This needs to move up just a hair. I'll wait to do, actually I can't wait. There's another one that's happening right there which is in an odd angle. So far I've only put one in there, one in for this, one in for this. Now let me take this down and put it way over here. Let's retract this handlebar. Let's move it way over like this. I wonder how bad this is going to make the other ones react when I put them in, because this one is such a funny one. But you know what? I'll deal with it. Now I've got this one pretty much isolated out for the nice shadow on that caused by the glove. Command S to save the file. Now let's see how bad this actually makes everything work. This needs to move back up. I realize you probably said the same thing to me that I said to myself. I just ruined where the white one was. Command S to save the file. Now I better make a copy of this, because I'm starting to add a lot more complexity to it. So let's double click this and call it Safe 1. There's no reason to deviate from the good formula here. Let's hit delete and number 2. Let's lock and hide number 2. I did that backwards again. I said it backwards. Let's go into number 2 and add the stopping lines. So I should be able to add them here and add them here. So let's go first right there, and let's go click for the stopping line. Let me deselect. There we go. And click for the stopping line right there. Let's move this one down a little bit for the dark. Okay, that's good. Now let's go make sure this one's in the middle of the white, not at the bottom of the white. Let's find the distance it takes to get to the white and double that distance and click up there. Now let's click right here for the dark going down the arm. Look at how nicely that went in, and the other geometry didn't hurt that too badly. Look at how nice I've got that formed right there. Look at how perfect that is, almost a little bit farther down like that. Now let's put in the white line right there. That can pull down, and you know what, I'm going to Command Z and click it a little bit lower. Then I'm going to retract the handlebar and move this one point up. There, I've got all my lines in this way. I can click right here for the stopping line for the shadow in a minute. Now I'm going to click right here for the dark. Let's put in the stopping line for the shadow, which I just did. Now let's click the white line. I'm going to click right there because I'm going to take a few minutes out, and this is the big one here. I'm going to actually Command Z back another time. I'm going to click right here, and I'm going to move manually without moving any handlebars. I'll fix all the geometry in a minute. Look at how I'm going to manually put this one right where it's supposed to go, all the way up here, taking and retracting the handlebars at one time as a productive, in a productive sense. So if you can just bear with me, here are my retractions here and here, retractions here and here. Okay, that's far enough. That doesn't need to be too much. Let's retract this one. Let's have a lot of patience when we do this. Move this up and retract it so the color doesn't get too weird on me. Let's retract this one and put it in position where it's supposed to go. This one is just a little bit funny formed. Okay, that's good. Now let's click this and retract that handlebar. Click this one, and this is one that got a little funny right there. This one has to turn, and this obviously now has to move up and go to, I'll call that the upper right. Good. And now this one has to go to the upper right. And I say good, and look at how now I've got that one formed nice. This isn't hard. It's just tedious. And you can kind of just, I hope what happens to you is that you build them and you say, oh darn, I should have done something different, and that you made a safe copy. And that's the important thing. If I only have to go back 1 or 2 steps, or 3 or 4 or 10 or 12, not 118, that is really the good thing. Now look at how I formed this one, hitting Command S to save the file, for the white line. So basically this one should go in pretty good, which it did. This one should go in pretty good to stop the white from going too far over, and this one should go in, whoops, I said it should go in, it didn't. That one should go in pretty, I'm going to click it right there. Okay, that one didn't go in good. I just have to move this over a skosh and this over a skosh, and then go in there close and retract these handlebars, because I can't play with this until play with it means color it, and without at least having the handlebars in a reasonable sense. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. Obviously, it doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to have pretty good geometry. Alright, I formed a really good grid there. Let me hit Command S to save the file. I may need another stopping line right there, because that's a pretty harsh dark line. Look at over here in the color reference. It's a pretty harsh dark line. I can either do it with pulling the handlebars, which I'll see. The next one that goes in is going to be a pain, because it follows the shadow up here. So when I click, it's going to want to go downhill. So as before, actually it didn't go too bad. I clicked a little higher so that I really only have to move this one down and this one down, and then it's just a matter of fixing the handlebars so they flow along the shadow a little bit better. Now I've got that going in there pretty well. I didn't say perfect, I said pretty well. This one needs to go up, this one needs to go up. That one's flowing pretty good. Where does that one have to go? You are right, it has to go down. So what do you do first? You retract the handlebars. You make this one go down. Don't overlap the handlebars. Now you can move the Bezier lines in, and now all it needs is a stopping line. Let's pull this one down a little farther, and now we even have that little curve. That's going to drive me nuts. Alright, let's hit Command S to save the file. Remember I said that the geometry takes a long time to get right, and that it might take us a little bit to color this. When I color this section with 1,000,000 points, please watch how I color all of these points the same color and then work my way across. Alright, so let's click a stopping line right here for the shadow and hit Command S to save the file. Let's Command click this, and first let's kind of identify where we are. This one and this one are the bright ones. So I've shift clicked with the direct selection tool both of those. Let's Command click this, I key, Shift key, and let's go over here and grab the light value. Now let's go right up to here, grab this one and grab the light value right there, and if I can get closer to this and keep everything on screen, I think we'll be doing good. I'll move it around so we can make some sense of this. Let me grab that a little bit better than I did before. Now I need a line. This needs to have color right through where I'm making my selection tool go. So with the U key, I better put something in here, not really caring how funny it gets, because I really need to color these. I need to use this one to color. I key, Shift key, grab the color. Let's just work our way across. This one, I key, Shift key, grab the color. This one, grab that nice color right there. This one, grab that nice dark right there. And you can see how I've started my darkness moving in. Let's now go over here and click the same thing. Let's take this one and color the darkness here. Let's take this one, which I already have. Let's take this one and color that value right there. Let's take this one and color the dark right there. Of course I told you the dark goes over too far, so I could grab this handlebar and just yank it a little bit up higher. Let's get closer to that. I could grab this handlebar and retract it. Grab this handlebar and overlap it. Now I have that color going a little bit less, meaning the dark from this point is now taking up less of the space because I have now used the blue handlebar to pull it a little farther. And I might need to go in there, like I said a minute ago, and put in a stopping line. Let me get a little bit closer than that. Okay, a little bit farther away. Perfect. Now let's go click this one, which is the color in the shadow here. Let's click this one and this one for the color of the shadow here. Let's click this one and get a little bit lighter with the shadow like this. And this one should get just a teeny weeny bit lighter with the shadow like that. I got a little bit too blue there. Okay, this one got a little bit too funny there. And I'm going to have to pull those handlebars close to each other here. Look at what I'm going to do. This handlebar right there needs to yank farther. Look at how that made the color very, very, not sharp, but a lot sharper than it was. Pull this one even farther. Let's take this one and pull it even farther. I'd rather, instead of putting in another line which could make streaky things happen, use your handlebars to handle the color transitions. Now that works better. Now let's go back in size and see the shadow that's in there. Let's go now around the corner. I kind of told you, let's try to get close to both of them on screen. Alright, now let's work our way around the corner. It's going to be hard to make this thing work. So let's try a couple at a time, working our way across. So I click, I work my way across here, here, and I click. And now I'm going to go over to this one, click around the corner like this. Let's click this one, which is where the white is, or the light, the bluey tone. Let's click this one and go into the color that's reaching up like this. And I'll alter these as I go. Let's go here. Let's go right there where the white actually mellows in like this. This one got a little bit too bright, a little bit too dark. Now, this whole section pretty much goes the same color. So let's click all four of these, every one of these to the same color. So we kind of soothe it down a little bit more right there. This one is too bright. Let's go to this. That's much better. A little bit less purple. Okay, that looks, whoops, I had it before. Okay, that's too blue. Okay, that's good. Now let's click this one. Watch this. And this one, both of these right there are in this area right there. Let's now go click this one and shift click right there. Let's go click this one and this one. Try to stay consistent. Remember, it's not going to look, whoop, that's too purple. It's not going to look good until it's 75% completed. That was good. Let's click this one and this one, which is right over here in the edge. Let's click this one. This one's going to have to move up. I'll show you why, because that color ends right there very quickly. So these two have to move up. Actually, we have to get close to that. This one has to move up. This one has to move up. You know what? I may need to put another one in there. I'm not doing that right. I'll tell you what I'm not doing right. I'm using the white one to perform that function. Let me Command Z back a couple of times. I don't want to use the white one for that function. I don't. I want the white one, which I made a mistake on. The white one should stay right in that crisscross area, right here. Another one, if I click the U key, should go right there. Now watch if I take that one. And since I only clicked right there, it didn't hurt what I did across here. Now if I go I key, Shift key, and grab this dark, look at how the dark goes in from that corner. Let's take this one and go up with it. Let's take this one and go up with it into here. Let's now go up into here. Now we need, you know what, I'm going to Command click this so that I can put in the stopping line for the shadow, which is going to be right there. That's good. Let's now go Command click this again and realize that this is below the shadow, so I key, Shift key, grab the color. Let's go grab all of these, so marquee every one of those right there, and let's go up into this color so it gets nice and dark. Let's go grab all of these 5, and grab the color that's up in there. And now let's work our way down. This one, and this one, and this one. I'm just a little bit too far away. I'm sorry I keep on doing that, but it's hard to do this from a point of view of a movie. And let's now click this one and go here. Okay, that's good. That's got that real well. All I got to do is to make that shadow real, you know what I have to do. If I pull these handlebars really close together here, if I overlap this handlebar here and overlap this handlebar, I'll get a solid line in there. And it'll make that shadow look like it's coming a little bit more tight, or the shading a little bit stronger. See how as it worked its way over to the left edge, it got a little not as soft. It got quick. I couldn't think of the word. Let's click here and click right there. Let's work our way across. So let's grab all of these and shift click right there. And now that looks pretty good. Let's now continue on. This one should take the darkness all the way up. This one is where the white, whoops, I missed. This one is where the white hits the edge. This one is in the middle of the arm where it gets slightly darker. This is where the white or the lighter value is right there. And this is where the lighter, I'm going to click both of these because this is where the lighter value kind of evacuates out. Now we have the arm looking pretty decent. I need a couple little fixes right here. This one needs to go slightly darker. Okay, and watch. This one, as I look from this distance, needs to go slightly darker. So now I've got the color kind of mutating. I feel like I'm mutating. Let's take this now, and I probably need to pull this over to the corner just a little bit more. So if I pull this over to the corner, pull this over to the corner, yank this one over to the corner, and I'll take all of these over to the corner. 1, 2, 3. Leave them selected and pull those over to the corner and leave them in pretty good geometry. I've done a pretty good job there. Let's click this one and get slightly brighter with it right there. Now let's look and see our line coming down in. Looks pretty good. I've almost got it, except this color doesn't look good there. It's not rich enough in the purple. So I like this one, so I'm going to click that one right there as that one moves in. And this one, which is around the corner right here, retract the handlebar just a tiny bit. That one needs to lighten up just a little bit around the corner. Little bit darker. Okay. And now, that's not too bad. I have some fix-ups to do on it, but as far as that arm being close to what the real arm is, there's not much to fix up. I have, and I'll show you where I do have to fix it up. Right here, I have to soothe this area out, make it a little bit more mellow. Now, the easy way to do that is to grab all 4 of these points at one time and just click somewhere in this region to just mellow that whole arm out. So watch how I'll even click all 6 of these points and just mellow the whole section out right there. Look at how that just mellowed that out, made it real pretty and real consistent is what I'm looking for. So if you have a splotchy area, don't be afraid to mellow it out, all right? Now, I'm going to leave it at that, even though I could probably do a lot better with that. That one's fine for this. A little bit harder line in the shadow would make me feel better. And this line, let me go back. This line needs to get slightly darker. So let's take that point and take this color slightly darker in there. And then this one got a little bit too dark. Let's go just mellow that out just a little bit in value. And nope, not there either. Right there. Now I have a good differentiation in there. I feel pretty good about it. It's not the best. Now let's make it harsher. You know how to make it harsher. We just go like this on every single one. Don't pull them too far apart from each other. And let me just make that a little bit farther. Okay. All of them, unfortunately, need to do that. So let's go 1, 2. Let's try to take them to the same height. Try to memorize the same height. And I think the next movie that I come back on, because I'm going to have this one render out, is going to be the character line, which is the thing that makes it look really good. Now let me try to do this one, and then I'll finish with this as I move back on it. Understand that I saved my copies as I went through this. All right, I turned the rectangle to match up to this one really well. did a pretty decent job. If I want this to be a little bit softer right there, I'll pull this line out a little bit. I know I'm probably being too much of a perfectionist, but that's, you know, it's going to be a little piece of detail. I'll just pull this out and I'll straighten up that line and I'll straighten out this line. Now I'll take these handlebars and I'll just make the geometry feel a little better in there. And now that soothed that little elbow area out. Okay, let me hit Command S to save the file. Let's go back on this arm. And remember, we are in shadow. You aren't looking at it with the actual, let's get close so I can turn on the clicky copy. You aren't looking at it with, look at how I'm clicking the clicky copy back and forth. I'm a little bit too dark in a couple of areas, but that's still fine. Wait till I get the character line on there before we make any harsh decisions. All right, so there's that done. Here is the way the gradient mesh looked. That is my safe number 2 copy. I hit Command S to save the file, and then when we come back we'll do the character line.